Hey, everybody, welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. Hang on for just a minute. I'm waiting for a prompt from my producer, and we'll get started. Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Katie Weaver Show. This is Katie. I'm your host. I am so happy to be here. I hope that you guys are having a wonderful day and a wonderful week. As per usual, I guess, we're in some pretty interesting energy this week. We're going to keep rolling with it. I know we don't have much of a choice, do we? But we'll talk about it. I want to let you know that we are live and it is the 20th of April. Yeah, at about 11 a.m. Pacific time. If you're listening to an archive or a replay, I also want to welcome you to the show. And as always, I am live streaming this event as well from my Facebook page and my YouTube channel. So, Katie Weaver, Domestic Mystic on either platform should get you there. So, if you'd rather watch than listen, that is the place to do it. Yeah. So, I'm curious to know how you guys are doing. I would love for you to comment in the chat room or on one of the live streams and let me know what you're doing. I would also love to know what you'd like to work on today. I showed up with no plan. I'm waiting. It's funny when you do these shows. A lot of times, I'm pretty much waiting for inspiration to come about what you all need to hear from me today. And sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes I show up here not really knowing what direction the show is going to take, and it's fine. Don't think it isn't. It's fine. The reason it's fine is because I've been doing this for a hot minute, and I don't have a problem filling an hour at all. And it's an opportunity for me to be able to ask you, what would you like me to speak on? What do you need to hear from me? What questions do you have for me? They could be reading questions. They could be questions about this career. They could be questions about spirituality, about past lives, about animal communication, yada, yada, yada. Right? So I'm just going to let you guys guide me a little bit today and give me some guidance. Lillian, I know it's Lillian. I'm sorry. I You are singing my song. She said a group meditation for peace and health. I was thinking about the same thing. Oh, Liliana, okay, was in the hospital this morning. Okay, so yes, a group healing circle then. A group healing circle it is. We will do that today. See how good you guys are? I figured there was just some stuff up. I Kelly sent me bitch scopes this week to put in Luminous, and I read the title that said this week, if it were a pepper, would be a habanero. And I was like, oh God, oh no. I wrote her back and said, oh no. And she said, oh yes. Okay. Speaking of Kelly, by the way, I am her guest this week, and I'm super excited about it. So if you want to come and listen to Bitch Scopes on Thursday night, Kelly and I will be having fun. And it's actually Thursday's fun for us because it's Read Me too. So at 10 a.m. Pacific, we'll be doing Read Me together and doing a live stream and taking callers out of the chat room. And then fast forward to Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Pacific, we'll be back on the air together doing something else. So I'm super excited about that. Okay. Ooh, Mary, I have a little lecture about, yep, I can help. She said she'd like to ask for a chakra balancing for her friends who are having trouble getting pregnant. Their names are Mia and Christopher, and they are open to receiving help. I will do that. I will also give you some advice that has worked splendidly for my clients over the years. I actually have clients who used to say that I got them pregnant, which always makes me laugh. I did not get them pregnant, but I had received some guidance in working with them that turned out to be really, really helpful. And I passed it along lots of times, and it's helped a lot of other couples. So here it is. What I was told with this particular couple was that her body was just so acidic that the sperm didn't stand a fighting chance. Her body was destroying the sperm before they could get anywhere near the place they meant to be were meant to be. And so what we were told is that she needed to seriously de-acidify her body in order to make it happen. So she quit drinking soda. She quit sugar and carbs for a couple of months. She started with leafy greens every day and started drinking chlorophyll. And she was pregnant in about 6 weeks. It was so wild. And she'd been working with fertility specialists and, the whole nine yards, and they just couldn't figure out why she wasn't getting pregnant. And that was the shift we made, and it worked really fast. And so I have shared that with many couples over the years because it was so effective for them. And I've seen it work all the time, lots of times. So I'll pass that along to you, Mary, just in case nutrition isn't something that they've thought about, but it's pretty specific nutrition. It's all about acidity in mom. So for what it's worth, but I would gladly work on them as well. Okay. Yep. Okay, Maureen. If I had a shot, I would do shots with you right this minute. I'm going to do that with you when this happens. Maureen said, I would love an energy clearing before I leave on my trip. When I return, I am resigning from my toxic job, opening myself up to serenity, healing, and letting the universe take control. I'll drink to that, my friend. Absolutely. I'm proud of you. I know this is a really hard decision. I know it's long coming. I also absolutely agree that it's the right one. You're ready for some peace. By God, you deserve some peace. Love it. Yes, and some energy work for you. No doubt. Okay. All right. Okay, we need to take a look at Tiffany's rabbit. Sid wants to know, do you use all of the clears when you do animal communication, or do you talk to them via the pictures, images that the animals send telepathically? Hmm. I would say more clears come in sometimes. Um, a lot of it is feeling, because I'm a kinetic empath. And so I feel what they're feeling in my body. And sometimes that's pain, sometimes that's fear, sometimes that's illness, sometimes it's something else. Definitely, and sometimes I smell. Sometimes I taste. That is an interesting one. I don't know what Claire that is, but or if it is one. But I sometimes I taste like I'll. Do you know what it feel? You probably do. That taste you get in your mouth if you've been sick and dehydrated. Like maybe you had been throwing up for a couple of days and you're really dehydrated, and you have that kind of dry, sticky, weird taste in your mouth. Sometimes I'll taste that when I feel animals. Uh, Sometimes I have like a really strong metallic sense or taste in my mouth. So, yeah. And then, of course, sometimes I do hear, a lot of times I do see the images, the pictures. That's an interesting question, Sid. Thanks for making me think about it. It's always good to reflect. So I would say yes, there's lots of clairs that come into play depending on the animal and the situation. Okay. Oh, Renee lost her kitty yesterday. She was at least 15 and into kidney failure. Renee, I'm so sorry. Let's all give her a collective hug. And yes, we will absolutely check in with her. All right. So we've got lots of stuff rolling here, you guys. See, I knew you guys are the best. Before that, though, let's take a look at Luminous and let's go ahead and get a healing circle rolling. I could use it too. I've got stress. Ugh, stupid stress. And it's also a good fight. So I volunteer on the Girls Softball Association board for our town. And we have had a really, really hard season. We just started. Our first games were yesterday, but we've been struggling literally for months with the city to schedule the fields that we need. And because they're building us a new complex and it's not done yet. Why isn't it done yet? Well, that's a really good question. Knowing the softball season would start in the spring, why it wasn't done in the fall is poor management. But that's a fight for another day. The issue we have had is that the guy that we have to work with through the city to schedule the fields has been very misogynistic with us. Three women on this board, and I'm not on the scheduling portion of it, so he's not dealt with the likes of me, and maybe he should have. But the we have dealt with an unbelievable amount of bullshit from him, and to the point we finally did get the mayor involved because one of us knows him personally, and he kind of helped us, but not necessarily, not enough, to get us what we need at this point. And so we are continually having to change our mind, reschedule games. Well, this is the same field that our girls are playing on, our high school girls, for the same reason, because their fields aren't done. Lots of mismanagement and a complete lack of caring about girls' sports in any way whatsoever. And we discovered today that both organizations have been completely screwed by this guy so that baseball teams have a place to practice. So the difference is organizations and a school team who have these fields reserved for games, and a baseball team trying to force us off of those fields so that they can have a practice. And you guys, it's just freaking unheard of. And we're so frustrated and angry, and it doesn't seem like any amount of conversations and phone calls and working on it is helping us at all. And I'm exhausted and overdone and frustrated as hell. So I also feel like we're going to get what we need. I actually do. I feel like it's going to take more pushing, probably another sit down meeting with the mayor. I still think we're going to get what we need. I'm just really frustrated in the meantime. So that's where I am this morning. And you know what? It's okay. I'm going to own it. I'm going to try not to spend my entire day pissed off, but at this moment, I am pretty frustrated. And I think I have a pretty good reason to be. I think that's an important point that we have to make, because in spirituality, we have been very guilty of telling people that they're not allowed to feel the way they feel. And the truth is, I feel mad as hell. And I'm going to use that anger, and I'm going to try to use it in a positive way to channel that anger into something positive to help us get what we need for our fields. But we're absolutely not going to be able to sit back and trust that they have our best interest at heart, because they don't. So here we are. I know. They're first world problems. They are. But you know what? If we don't fight for these girls, no one's going to fight for these girls. It is us. We are the ones. So here we are. And my cohorts are on this committee are the most lovely women who typically haven't had to go up against men. It's not in their energy, probably. It's definitely not in their culture, their theology, to have to battle men, or to feel like you have the right to. It's stretching them a lot. And, you know, frankly, I'm just showing restraint at this point, because what I would like to say and what I have said are two different things. But it's coming. They don't know who my mother was or my grandma. Ah, okay. Enough about that. But that's where my heart's at this morning, in a place of utter frustration, but also knowing that I have the voice, I have the power, I have the ability, and I certainly have the right to say what needs to be said and to also go to battle when battle is called for. So I'm putting on my armor as we speak. Alrighty, well, let's take a peek at Luminous. You probably know that Luminous is the magazine that I publish with my sisters, not my sisters, well, yeah, with Christy. I don't know where that came from, with my colleagues over at One Two Listen, and others, with my friends, let's say that. And Luminous is something that comes out every Tuesday, so you've already received it this morning, probably. But I put links in the chat room. You can also find it just by heading over to katie-weaver.com and clicking on the Luminous Magazine button. I went with a cover of these gorgeous tulips. Aren't they pretty? I don't, you guys probably have tulips up already. Mine are up. I have quite a few up. They're a ways from blooming, but they're at least out of the ground. So we'll take that. Kara gave me this beautiful container of carnations for Mother's Day, like a plant, not cut, but a plant of little like mini carnations for not for Mother's Day, for Easter. Anyway, they're sitting on my kitchen table and they are blooming up a storm. They are so pretty. Yeah. Also, have you guys ever seen a corpse plant? Have you ever heard of a corpse plant? Have you ever wanted to? So, one of our local nurseries has one, and they're really rare. They're really rare. And the corpse plants are uh, so they're rare to get and to be able to keep them growing, but they also are pretty rare to actually see them bloom because they most of them only bloom like every 8 to 9 years, sometimes even further, depending on the plant. And so it's just really rare to see them actually do anything. And this plant is getting ready to bloom. And the reason they're called a corpse plant is because when they bloom, they literally smell like something dead. They do. So, of course, we saw that our corpse plant was blooming, and Matea, my daughter Matea, is home for a week, and she and I are both big plant nerds. So, we went to the nursery yesterday to check out the corpse plant, and it was pretty cool, actually. It's pretty interesting. It definitely smells like death. Holy hell. This one didn't smell horrible, like it didn't stink the whole place up. It's not huge, but when you get closer to it and the leaves at the bottom of it, if you can see the picture I put in the chat, they are getting ready to fall off. When they fall off, that's when the bloom is complete. And I guess it smells much worse then. But I got closer to it to kind of lean down in and, well, see the blossoms down inside of it. And that's when it really hit me like, ay caramba. Yeah, it definitely smells like a dead body, like rotting flesh. That's why it's called a corpse plant. So, ew. But it's also kind of interesting. Fun to see a rare plant like that anyway. So, yeah. So that's what I'm up to. We also went to Montana over the weekend so that Mars could check out a couple of schools that are recruiting her for softball. And it was fun. Fun trips. I don't know that she's going to choose either of those schools. She really liked both of the teams, but wasn't super impressed with the academics at either one of them. So I don't know. I still don't know what's going to happen. We won't know, well, till she knows. And she's going to have to commit fairly soon. That's putting a little additional stress on her to make a decision and that she's not sure she's ready to make. So I don't know. I think we'll still end up on another trip or two before a full decision is made, but that's okay. It's a big decision. But we had fun. We drove along the side of Yellowstone Park, and there were big flashing signs that said, watch for buffalo, buffalo and roadway. And we came across a pretty good herd, not an enormous herd, but a pretty good herd of bison just wandering down the side of the road, just acting like it was normal, which I've seen that in Yellowstone lots of times, but like just this is like a 50-mile-an-hour highway. And they were just trotting along. It was actually just fun and funny. I didn't get my camera out. I was having too much fun watching them. The big pregnant mamas, they should be they usually start having babies in May, so they're really close. But they didn't have any babies with them. But definitely some big old pregnant mamas. But anyway, so that was it was fun. It was a fun trip. It was 16 hours in the car in 3 days, which might seem like a lot. Yes, it seemed like a lot. My ass thought it seemed like a lot, but luckily we have a lot of fun together. So we laughed a lot, stayed in a nice hotel. I have no complaints really, but Anyway, I called the magazine this week the Rebellious Soul Edition because there is a rebellious energy afoot. That's why Jeff at the city better watch his freaking back. That's all I'm saying. But there is a rebellious energy afoot, and you might catch yourself feeling a little rebellious this week. There's nothing wrong with that. Just make sure that your rebellion actually serves you, right? Don't cut off your nose to spite your face. Don't take a hard line on something that actually hurts you, you know, because that's the old theory like, don't ground your kid for a week unless you really want to bear the brunt of that, right? Don't hurt yourself, but you may find yourself this week feeling kind of rebellious, kind of over lots of stuff. So use it well, right? Be rebellious. I'm all for it. Just use it well. Use that energy well to serve you and to embolden you without kicking your own ass. That's what you want to avoid, right? Sometimes we just rebel against ourselves. The quickest way for me to not do something is to insist that I have to do it. If that's the case, I'm probably not going to do it. I'm actually the most rebellious against myself. And I think a lot of you guys are. I think you know what I'm talking about. We're all a little like that. So, and you know why? It's because we're safe, right? Because what are you going to do to you if you don't do the thing you said you were going to do? Um, yeah. However, I do feel like this is, this is a turning point maybe for some of us this week, like for Miss Maureen, a few of us that are feeling like we're going to rebel a little bit against a system and maybe create some change. Terry said, I'm so sorry that you had to deal with this situation with your girls. Yeah, again, like the NCAA basketball, women got a few weights, yeah, and yoga mats, and the boys got all the machines and weights out there until the girls went viral and finally got everything they should have gotten in the first place. Right, Terry. They also, that was only part of it. They also, their living quarters were not even close to the same. The food situation was absolutely appalling. The boys were given 3 meals a day of like buffet style, restaurant style food. The girls were given essentially TV dinners in their rooms. That was it. And these are college athletes. They weren't getting nearly enough food. They were hungry. And because they were in the bubble, because it was the tournament and they were all, supposed to stay in the bubble because of COVID, they weren't allowed to order food in. And so after all of that stuff went viral, they started giving them about twice as much food as they had been giving them, but not just feeding them buffet style like they were feeding the boys at all. There was also a swag pack that the boys got that had a ton of NCAA merchandise in it and shoes and hoodies and clothes and, electronics, like all kinds of stuff. And what the girls got was a few pieces of very generic stuff, including a puzzle. A puzzle. An NCAA puzzle. A March Madness puzzle. Because, what college basketball player at the biggest tournament in the country doesn't need a puzzle? Yeah, it's appalling. We can't shut up about it. It is appalling. So, yeah, I'm with you. And I hope the NCAA not only gets sued over that, but was so deeply publicly shamed that they will make some changes. Yeah. All right. Moving forward. Okay. So I want to talk to you about ravens and crows. I have a lot of ravens and crows in my yard. Last year I managed to befriend a magpie in the winter. And then it resulted in a lot of magpies in my backyard and ravens and crows in my front yard. And Scott wasn't as impressed because they were fighting in the mornings early. You'd hear them yelling at each other with some kind of turf war, I guess, or gang thing, I'm assuming, with these birds. But anyway, so I was joking yesterday, kind of half joking with Scott, that what I really want to do is like really befriend the ravens and crows and fill my yard with them and make them all my very best friends. When we got off the air, I was thinking about that and I thought, I really could take way more steps to bring crows in. I already have quite a few. But you hear about people that have really befriended crow families that stick around for a long time. And, I kind of I want that. And so, of course, I'll use some animal communication as well. But I was reading some articles about some steps you can take in your yard to really attract the crows and ravens if that's something that you want to do. So, know this, they're carnivores, they're omnivores, and they do steal the eggs of smaller birds and eat them and feed them to their babies. There are some reasons why you wouldn't want them. If you love having smaller birds, robins, starlings, other little guys, you might not want to attract the ravens and crows. Doves, we used to have doves. We don't have them anymore in our yard. But anyway, so there's some things to think about. But if you are interested, I made an infographic for you about how to make friends with ravens and crows. So, obviously, by feeding them, you need to have feeders that are deep and sturdy. The little hanging, ones that you would hang in your windows to put bird feeds in, bird seed in, that does not fly for them. They're actually ground feeders. Now, they're not going to ground feed probably in your yard for their own safety, but things that are lower and that are more sturdy. So I have this, used to be a concrete bird bath, but has a crack in it and doesn't hold water anymore. I'm going to put their food in that because that's really sturdy and stable for them to stand on and to land in. Some suggestions were high quality dog and cat food like low phosphorus, uh, eggs, either boiled and cracked open or even small raw eggs, like if you wanted to invest in quail eggs or something like that. Fruit, cut up fruit, and unsalted peanuts in the shell are some of their favorites. The articles I read said that you kind of have to get to know your crows, and put food out. And if they eat it, great. And if they don't, then know that maybe that's not something that they want and move on. Vegetables were also suggested, as well as any kind of unsalted nut or seed. So, those are some thoughts on things that they might be interested in eating. Oh, no, Rebecca, I was talking about what's happening in my town. No, actually, the college towns we visited in Montana were great. Yeah, they're junior colleges, and she's not so sure about their academic programs. Might not be where she would like them to be, but the schools themselves were wonderful, and the teams were fantastic. So no, it was all good. Okay, create a routine. Crows love routine. I thought this was really interesting. You should put out food at the same time every day. And when you do that, and as they get to watching for that, and this is how I developed a relationship with the magpie last year, is that every morning at the same time, I would go outside and I would put a few pieces of dog food on the barbecue grill for her. That's the time I put the piggies out to potty. And she'd wait for me. She'd be sitting out in the yard hollering when I came out, and I'd put the food out, and then she'd wait for me to go in. I could stand right at the window and watch, but she'd wait for me to go in and shut the door. And then she'd grab her food and off she'd go. And she got to where she was waiting for me. She didn't come back this year, sadly. I was hoping she would, but she didn't. But yes, routine. So feed them at a time that you know you'll be home, and it works for you, but always feed them at the same time every day. I mean, that makes sense. All right, patience. Don't try to get too close too fast. It takes some time to gain their trust. And so you want to feed them and watch them from afar and, stay away from their feeder. The other thing that they said on that front was don't have a bunch of noisemakers in your yard. If you have a bunch of wind chimes and things like that that make noise, they're less likely to come hang around. But shiny things. Crows do love shiny things. So putting glimmering, eye-catching, shiny things around your yard will help grab their attention. They just can't be noise-makey things. So I was thinking about hanging some keys in my trees and maybe some prisms and some things like that. but not things that are, banging together, making noise. Yeah. All right. And provide a bird bath. They should be large, deep, and sturdy. Again, little teeny shallow ones for crows won't do the trick. So something bigger and deeper and sturdier for them, and rinse it out frequently for them. So that's a few thoughts, and just a few. I read a lot more thoughts than that, but these were the things that stuck out at me to me as things that would be easy enough to do and might at least get you started in building a little murder of crows in your yard. If you're into that kind of thing, I am. Yep. It's a murder. Sid said, there was a woman in a city environment where I used to live who trained two wild crows that she named Heckle and Jekyll to come and eat raw hamburger meat. Nice. Yeah, love it. That's fun. I'm excited. I will let you know how it goes. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I'm excited. Oh, Pamela says she has blue jays that love unsalted peanuts in the shell. If I don't get the food out early enough, they will complain loudly. Aha, there you go. See, I'm going to have crows yelling out the window at me to come out and feed them. And again, Scott's going to wonder what the hell is wrong with me. That's okay. A lot of things. I don't mind. Not a bit. All right. Kate is picking up her baby Indian ringneck today. Oh, that's so exciting. My step grandpa, my mom's stepdad, he raised ringnecks for like 40 years. They are the coolest birds. They are such sweethearts. She's on a plane right now. Can you let her know it's okay? I'll try to reach her through you, Kate, for sure. She's going to be a nervous wreck when she gets to you. Yeah, it's it's going to be interesting. She's going to need some really quiet days, and I feel like it'll take 2 or 3 weeks for you to really start seeing much of a personality out of her. This is a big shakeup and change for her, but she'll be okay. You have great energy for this, and how exciting! They're awesome. Okay. All right. Well, let's keep going with Luminous. All right. So, like I said, from Bitch Scopes, Kelly said if it was a pepper, it would be a habanero this week. Damn it. We have shifted into Taurus. So, let's take a look at Taurus's scope this week. Dear powerful manifesting bitch, you greatly underestimate yourself. Look at what you have already created and how far you have come. Why do you doubt that you can have your cake and eat it too? Your practical nature may hold you back in some cases. It is crucial that you use your emotions to create what you want. Feel what it feels like to have it. Use the moon to release self doubt. Love Goddess. Love it. All of her scopes this week were Dear Somebody Bitch, Love Goddess, and they're awesome. I had to call my kids and read them theirs so that they could get a good handle on this week. My son is finishing up his semester. He's been unbelievably stressed out and worried. And her scope for Capricorn was so encouraging. I was so excited to call him and say, see, you are going to be okay. Are ravens and crows the same thing? No, not completely. However, they're in the same family. I think it's the size that is the difference. And honestly, Larry, I can't ever keep it straight. Are ravens bigger and crows smaller? Are crows bigger and ravens smaller? I can't remember. But they are in the same family. Yeah. Oh, that's a good suggestion, Sid. She said for her shiny things, how about those hanging metal mirrors that parrots play with? That's a good idea. Oh, and Sid also said she thinks Mark was taking care of crows at his house. He might have been. He really likes to bring in hummingbirds and photograph them. So I don't know if he was playing with the ravens, but he might have been. I mean, he even gets bears. He gets everything at his house. He also has a flock of wild turkeys that run around his property that leave random feathers on his porch and stuff like that. It's pretty hilarious. Okay, right. So Lillian is saying it's ravens that are the biggies. Okay. Yeah, thank you. Renee said that too. That's what they have at Yellowstone. They have ravens at Yellowstone that are enormous. And they're big pigs that have been fed too many times from tourists' picnic baskets, and they will come right up to you. And I know it's really not good for them, probably, but they are really, conditioned to eat from people. Yeah. All right. So it is ravens. I think it's crows what I have. They're not as big, but whatever. Either way. Okay. Let's keep going in Luminous here for just a minute. All right. My tip this week, today, don't compare yourself. Do be grateful. Do be present. And do be yourself. That's a pretty easy checklist, right? Maybe. We like to compare ourselves, that's for sure. You just got to be careful. All right. Caroline's article, Would You Recognize the Signs of Aluminum Toxicity? Great article. And then I wanted to point out what we have going on at True Crime Paranormal this week. So far this week, we have 2 cases out. We have the Ellen Greenberg case. Ellen Greenberg is the weirdest case. Ellen Greenberg was murdered. It's obvious by her crime scene. She was stabbed 22 times, and more than half of those were in her back, in a place that there's no way in the world a human person could do that to yourself. Uh, and yet her death was ruled a suicide and just written off by the police as, oh well. And her family's been fighting now for 10 years to get that changed on her death certificate and to force the police to open up an investigation. And they are back in court like this year to try to get a ruling on it. Again, they have plenty of health experts claiming that there's no possible way she could have done it to herself. When her boyfriend found her, she had a kitchen knife buried inches deep in her chest. And besides them saying there's no way this tiny woman did that to herself, all of the stab wounds in her back, she could not have physically done. Why in the hell was her death ruled a suicide? Because that was easy. It's easy to rule a death a suicide because then you don't have to do anything else with it. But her family has fought tooth and nail for justice for her for all these years. So we are following that very closely. So we did a story on that. The other story that we did was about a murder that happened in Yellowstone. Since I was in the area, we visited the cemetery where the victim is buried. We visited the town, and took some pictures. And we did a story about Larry Moore, the West Yellowstone killer. So if you're interested in what's going on over at True Crime Paranormal, I did put a link in the chat room to our page. And you can also find our podcasts on literally any podcast carrier. So there you go. All right. Well, that's enough with Luminous today. There are a few other things, so be sure and take a look. But that's everything going on up in my world. So let's do a healing circle. I think everybody could just use a little of that. And then I will get to some of your reading and healing requests in the chat room. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a few deep breaths here. All right. I would like you to picture yourself walking down a forest path, walking along, walking towards a clearing. I'm going to count backwards from 10 to 1, and as I do so, I would like you to continue to walk down this path, getting deeper and deeper into your spirit with every step you take. and getting closer and closer to the clearing. The clearing is a sacred place, a place where we can join up for healing, for comfort, and for care. So, starting with 10 now, walking down the path, feeling comfortable and capable about your ability to join this group. 9, 8, 7. You can hear the pine needles crunching under your feet. You can smell the trees. It's warm but not hot. The sun is filtering through the canopy of trees onto your path. 6, 5, 4, getting closer and closer and deeper into your spirit with every step that you take. You can see the opening now into the clearing. 3, 2, and 1. Step out into the grass now. This is an open meadow with grass and wildflowers. You can see others gathering in the center. Go ahead now. Walk out into the center of the room or the group. Walk out into the clearing, breathing in the fresh air, letting the gentle rays of sun enliven you, warm you. Joining with the group now, you may see me and others, many that you don't know and maybe some that you do. This is a place of peace, a place of unconditional love. This is a place of joy. Take hands now, forming our circle. And I'd just like you to hold in your heart anything that you're coming to this circle for healing for today, for yourself, for your family, for your animals, for your community, whatever's in your heart. Hold it there. And now I'm going to invite you to get started. If you practice an energy healing modality, you may do that now. Perhaps you just want to send love from your heart, or you want to pray, or you want to hum or chant. Whatever's in your heart is fine. Whatever you choose to do will be the right decision. Let's all join our collective energy now, holding space for the highest and best good of all of the requests, of all that's in your heart, in my heart, in the hearts of each and every one of us as we join together in collective healing now. Good. Letting that peace fill your heart. Letting your worries, your cares, your stress, your pain melt away. Surrender it to the group. This energy is bigger than you, it's bigger than me. It has the possibility and the capability of creating big healing. Good. Okay. Almost done. Okay. Go ahead and let go of hands now. Take just a moment here to say goodbye. In just a moment, I'll be counting forward from 1 to 5. As I do so, you'll be walking back up the path from whence you came, getting lighter and lighter. When I get to 5, you'll be fully awake and in your body. You'll remember how to come to this place, how it felt, how it looked. You can come back here anytime you want for healing and for peace. Go ahead and walk back now to the path that you came off of. Stepping back onto the path now, 1, 2, walking along the path, getting lighter and lighter. 3, almost there. 4, and 5, wide awake and refreshed. Okay, big stretch now. Good. Oh, good. Drink something if you have something. Move your body a little bit to get back into your space. And good job. That is some good work. Yeah, we all needed that. That was a great suggestion. Okay. Couple of reading requests I wanted to get to. Renee's kitty. Let's check in with Ginger. Oh, Renee, she was so tired, so ready. The first thing she shows me is stretching, like the long, claws into something, kind of lean back and stretch, kind of, you know, kitty stretch stuff. She says it's a real relief to be out of her body. She wants to thank you for everything. She said that you have been very understanding with her and that you've worked really hard to make sure that she was comfortable, not just physically, but also emotionally, and that she has needed that kind of support over the years from you. Uh, Lots and lots of love from her. She's just going to walk by your side. She's going to stay really close by and just be a part of your process. So she's okay. Yep, she's good. Okay, let's see. Brooke, I would love to talk to Zeus. Is that a cat or a dog? Will you let me know first and then I'll gladly check in. Thank you, Liliane. That felt good to me too. Agreed. Sometimes we just need each other, don't we? That's right. That's why we build a community of people, not just us and me and you, but us, right? Okay, so Tiffany's rabbit butterscotch, his heels on his hind feet. With his breed, they get tender and sore because the fur doesn't completely cover them. Any healing would be awesome. I've also wondered if he sits on them or if the flooring bothers them. Okay, let's take a look. We'll do a little healing there too. He does have some really sensitive skin right there, Tiffany. I do think that he sits on them. I'm showing him that, to be careful that he's not putting too much pressure on them, but that skin just seems to be really tender. I would Google it and see what it's so hard with veterinary for rabbits because they're, you know, uh, not as many people keep them. But I would look for a rabbit safe salve for those feet to just help protect them a little bit. Poor kid. Okay, Sid said, please ask my dog Patchouli if she sneezed out a small tip of grass the other day and if it had been sitting in her sinuses. She seems to be doing much better after that. In between explosive sneezing spells that are so hard she knocked out a tooth. Oh my goodness. Oh, Sid, this crazy girl. Let me feel into her. She sneezed up a couple of things. I feel like she did have a little grass, but there was more than one piece of grass, but there was also some dusty stuff. Yeah, she kind of had a pocket of stuff irritating her in her sinuses. Yeah, that seems to be a thing for her, actually. And that I wonder if her sinuses are a bit misshapen or something along that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, Brooke said it is her, Belle said it's her giant French red mastiff. Oh, Lordy. Oh, yeah. He ate through the laundry room door. Yep. We used to breed Great Danes. I have seen it with my own eyes. I've seen doors get eaten, windows get broken, siding chewed off the house. Oh, I'm so with you. Let me tune into him. I think you've already done this, but I'm going to reiterate it that he has some really good chewing stuff, like kongs that have treats in them, or peanut butter or something like that for him to work on, like the really big kongs that he can't destroy. Another toy you might think about is a horse ball. They're a lot harder for him to make short work of, but I am showing him that he absolutely has to stop. So my solution for him is that it stops or he has to sleep in a crate at night. Which I don't want crates to be a punishment. This isn't a punishment, it's just a solution. So a very large wire crate is, and you don't have to do that, but that's what I'm showing him so that he knows that there is a consequence if this keeps up. I'm also showing him that the laundry room can be his den, with his blanket and his toys and his stuff, that this can be his den, his space, at least at night, and that he should take care of it. He's pretty high strung and hyperactive. I would try at night some rescue remedy too. You can give him a whole dropper full. He's enormous, so give him a whole dropper full. Uh, oh, tractor ties. That's a good idea. Yep. Uh, the I give him a whole dropper full of rescue remedy at night and see if that helps chill some of this out. Thank you, Jane. She said this peach color is a great color on me. Thank you. I think so too, actually. I love this shirt. All righty. Well, you know what's happened. We are out of time. I do want to thank you guys all so much for being here. Of course, I am a professional psychic advisor over at one2listen.com, and you can find me over there every single day. So come over and give me a call if I can help. You have been listening to the Katie Weaver Show here on One Two Radio, where we are changing the way you listen to the